Sorry, I've been gone to World of Warships for a little while. Been playing some World of Warships. Haven't done much NASCAR videos lately. But just started with NASCAR Heat 5 not too long ago. I'm not the best driver in the world. Never have claimed to be, but I do really enjoy going in and working on setups and seeing how fast I can actually get cars. Hopefully give people a good setup so they can be competitive. So let's go ahead and go in and we will look at our setup over here. We are at Talladega, by the way. These setups are basically going to be designed for pack racing. It is not the fastest that you can go on a single lap by yourself qualifying. But what I do try to do is get those same type speeds, but with a lower RPM. That should be your goal. So what we're going to work on is getting a 202 mile per hour car at Talladega. Solid 201, it'll flicker 202 going into each one of the turns. But the trick to it is instead of doing it at 8,000 RPMs, we need to do it at 7,500 or below. So that way when we actually get in traffic, we've got a ton of RPMs left, so the car will be super fast when we get in the track. So let's get to it. All right, so let's go to our custom race setup. 24.3 on the front shocks, 4.3 on our rears. Now what this is going to do is actually these directly correlate with your spring settings. So if you notice, I've got higher left bumps, but I went really low on the pounds of pressure, gritch and stuff on the fronts and stuff. So it's going to give you a really smooth ride, and it's really fast. So on the backs we go 4.3. Let's go down. Left weight 54.2, of course. Front weight 50.2. Wedge 54. Ride height 6.0. Rear 6.4, of course. On your front left springs, 400 pounds. Right front spring, we go 410. I want that spring to have a little more pressure on there, so when it actually hits into the turn, it actually helps turn the car to roll the car to the inside when it has more pressure on that side. So it helps the car maintain speed as you're going into the turn and get into the turn a lot smoother. Same way on the rear. We're going to run 590 on the back left spring and 600 on the rear right spring. Tire pressure, of course, max them out 60s. This one's kind of depending on what race you're doing on there as far as your cameras go. On max speed 8.0 and negative 8.0, but that is going to wear your right front tire out pretty quickly. If you're racing in a longer race, you're going to be pitting like a 13 lap race, you're probably going to blow a tire before you get to it if they've got tire wear on 4. So to compensate that, just cut it down in half. You can go like 5.9, 4.9. I'll run on there, and it saves a lot of tires. Front sway bar 1.675. A left track bar 15 and 15. Now this setup does work on Daytona as well. It's really good on Daytona as well. All you have to do on Daytona is take your left track bar and go down, and it depends on how you like to drive. Like I'll run mine a lot lower at Daytona on the left track bar. Like I'll go down, and that way, you know, you've got that bounce when you hit the butter at Daytona. That'll help eliminate how hard that bounces off of the butter. But again, it's Talladega, so we're going to go 15s. I never used my brakes at Talladega, so I just leave them alone. Grill tape 65. A lot of people go, wow, you're going to run hot. No, you won't. You're running at 7,500 RPMs. You're not going to run hot. And even when you get in pack racing and stuff, you're going to get to 8,000, maybe 8,200. So your car is not going to run hot at 65% and stuff. Wheel lock 10. This is kind of preference and stuff on there also as far as your wheel lock and your steering offset. But 10 and 0.050. Gear ratios 2.35, 135. 95, I run a 3-gear manual setup. On your controller, I recommend running manual so you can really wind it up and get that last gear on there so you can get the maximum out of your speed and your RPMs. So that's it. Let's go test it out. Save that bad boy. All right. I'm going to show you guys some different lines and stuff too, because there's a difference between a lap time and actual speed and how to maintain your RPM so you can actually get the most out of what your car will do. So actual lap time is basically how little movement you can do on the controller, and to be honest with you, staying on the computer actually believes that this line you see right here is the fastest way around the track, or the most efficient way, I should say. So if you get on that line and you stay on it and you barely have to do anything, which this car is set up to basically where you don't have to hardly drive it at all. I mean, it's made for the track. It's really smooth, it's not jerky at all, and it's really stable. But I'm going to show you the difference between RPMs. If you notice, my RPMs are not even at 7,500 now. We're almost at 7,500. We're already at 200 miles per hour. I'm just going along the outside right now just to kind of get the car up to speed a little bit, kind of like you would on the qualifying stuff on there. But you can go ahead and start running it like you want. Like going into this next turn, I'll go ahead and drop in. But speed and qualifying time. So RPMs is what I look at. Like, can I get to 202? We're at use flicker 202 at 7,500 RPMs. That's what I want. So that leaves me a whole lot of room for when I'm in the draft. What I've learned about this game is it's different between some of the other games. Like I've got the record still on NASCAR 14-15 for fastest solo lap on there. But what I've learned is on this NASCAR Heat 5 is a little different. Like your RPMs really come into play when it gets around 8,000. Like the car just doesn't want to seem to go once you get to like 8,000 RPMs. Really don't want to pick up speed. Whereas like the older NASCAR games, like you got to 8,000, that between 8,000 and 9,000 was where the speed was at. No, not in this game, unfortunately. So you got to set your car up where you can get pretty good speed, but the lowest RPM that you can get. So when you get in the package stuff, between 7,000 and 8,000 RPMs is where the speed is at now. So I'm going to run a qualifying lap real quick, and then I'll show you the difference between an RPM and a speed lap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my best to stay right on top of the orange line, and you'll notice the RPM and the speeds change, and I'm going to do it with as little movement as possible. Like I said, I'm not the best driver in the world. I'm okay. So if you notice coming out, we stayed at 197 coming out of the turn, which is really good. You know, if you go 198, 199 with better drivers than I am out there, you're really smooth. And then we flicker 202 going into the trial. So it's nothing important when you're solo and stuff, because like I said, we're doing that at 7,500 RPM. I can get 202, 203 at Talladega by myself, but if you get in a pack, it's not really going to do you any good because you don't have any speed to gain. So to do that, you got to get almost 8,000 RPMs. So I'd rather save the power. All right, so there's our qualifying lap, 48.39. All right, so now I'm going to show you the difference on the speed. Like if you notice, I got down pretty hard, 197 pretty quickly. See, that's 198 through the turn, then 197 coming out, and then it should immediately turn to 198 coming out of the turn. So this is probably not going to be as fast of a lap, but as far as speed goes, and your RPMs go, it keeps your RPMs up a lot higher. So you don't necessarily have to in a race, like it's relative. So if you want a fast qualifying car, if you want a car you can actually run around the track. If you're racing against guys, they're not going to be going inside and outside racing a qualifying lap most of the time. Right? So most of the time what they're going to do is they're going to stick to the bottom. So this time what we're going to do is I'm going to drop it to the bottom. We're going to stick it to the bottom, and then we're not going to come off the bottom. We're going to put it on rails, and we're going to ride the yellow line like you would in a race if you had somebody pushing. So you notice we got down to 196, but it immediately jumped back up. So this car is made, you can ride outside, you can ride inside, and the tail end's not going to come around on you in the turn, or coming out of the turn, I should say. Which is typically, well, probably you would have if it was a really, really fast car. Like right here, the tail end would start coming around on you, not so much. And if it's a little too tight for you, then loosen the wedge up a little bit, and it'll loosen the car up a little bit. But yeah, this is going around the track. Still going to run probably a 48.4. Yeah, low 48.4. I mean, that's, and we we're at 7,500 RPM, which is what you want. So this next time we're gonna kick it to the outside. We're just gonna cruise along the outside here. So yeah, the setup is really good in spaces. You're gonna find it is a front car because that 65 grill tape, of course. I mean, it pushes really well, but it takes a little bit more skill to push with a 65 tape because the car is gonna want to bounce off of the back end of them if you're not like lined up with it. Don't stay buried in it. So yeah, it's an out front car, but what you'll find is when somebody gets about 3 car lengths away from you, your speed will actually jump up to 206, 207, 208. You don't even have to get close to you. It literally just lays like a rocket when a car gets close to behind you. And when you get in line with several people, it's really fast, really fast. It'll take you a little bit to get used to how fast it actually sucks up on the back end of the car when you have another car behind you. It can sneak up on you and you get in the back of them pretty quick. So, but this is just cruising along the outside. That was a pretty good little 202. You don't have to, 198, 197 through the turn. It will hold its own. Most people drop it down 196 through the turn. So even on the outside, cruising on the outside, your car will go past you. Which is the other thing about this car. It has get around speed. So what that means is when you're up on a car and you've got somebody in front of you, it's just you and him, mano a mano. Can you pull out and get around? Absolutely. And, now there are some setups out there that's more difficult than others. Like I said, but I mean, with the way the RPMs work on this car, you can get so much headroom, like at the last second. Pulling up on somebody's tail end, you can get around them. You can get them around on the outside, and if they leave a hole in the inside, it's over. Like, you'll just sweep right through it and right around like it's nothing. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to do a couple more. I'll do a couple more on Talladega. Sorry I haven't done very many race videos lately, like I said, World of Warships. But I'm having fun on this now, yeah, I'll see if I can't get you a really, really good one for Daytona. This works great on Daytona, but I haven't really dialed it in for Daytona yet. So the RPMs seem a little low. You really got to be in a room with a bunch of really, really fast cars. It works awesome. But RPMs may be a little low for Daytona. You may have to loosen the wedge up a little bit to get a little more speed. But, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I'll actually post a video of this bad boy in a race. Let you see what the top end speed can do on it. It is blazing fast in a draft. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. See you next time.